Welcome back to TYT Sports and RotoWire. Jason and Chris here to discuss what is more important to an NFL team or franchise, the franchise quarterback or a great NFL head coach. Now, we've had this conversation about soccer in the past. We're going to have this conversation about all sports, but they apply differently to all sports because for some it might be that world-class talent, that amazing franchise quarterback, that #1 overall pick, and for others it might just be coaching. You have to choose a side. Because you can't say a combination. That is the cop-out.
Okay.
I won't let you take it that easy.
Well, I wasn't going to go that way.
All right, great, perfect.
Why would you even suspect me to go that way?
Well, so I could, because Ben would be in here being like, well, if we look at this angle on it and this angle on it, just killing the fun of it.
Ben's walking the plank right now. He's not even.
He fell off his cruise ship.
Here's the deal, okay? In basketball, LeBron, no-brainer. You can have the village idiot coaching.
It's not because he is the coach as well, but yeah.
Okay. But in football, I'm going to take the quarterback. I think the coach matters quite a bit, and the coach is going to help you get a good quarterback more quickly because he's going to be a better judge of talent. And so the coach leads to a better quarterback, and great quarterbacks lead to the coach being thought of as a great coach. So there is some interference here. It's very hard to separate. Brady, Belichick. Would Belichick be considered Belichick if he didn't have Brady? Would Brady be Brady without Belichick? It's very hard to say. The Patriots don't really instruct us very well. But I'll tell you who does. The Packers. Packers win, whenever Rodgers is healthy, they win 11, 12 games minimum every year. Yeah. And Mike McCarthy is not a very good coach. I think he's an okay leader of men. I mean, when we say good or bad coach, we got to separate a couple of categories. Leadership
qualities,
There's like the Coughlin, who's a leader of men. The guys perform, they show up.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't take any crap. The locker room's not, lunatics aren't running the asylum. It's not Miami with Philbin or something like that, okay? But at the same time, he makes the most moronic endgame decisions. He doesn't understand game theory very well. Right. You know, he's a troglodyte, okay? He's lost in a distant past that he doesn't realize, you know, some of the things. But that's not just him, and I don't want to pick on his age. There's a lot of very young coaches who are just as out of touch with, you know, probability and game theory and things that are so huge components of winning. And yet, if you have Aaron Rodgers, you're going to win no matter what.
Doesn't matter who your coach is.
Right. I mean, you need some other personnel, but, you know, if you have average personnel on Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be a 10-win team regardless of the coach. Now, if you're a great coach, I do think part of what you do is you put players in positions to succeed. You make good players better. And so you're going to have a quarterback like Joe Flacco, who's not that great, but John Harbaugh gets the most out of him, and that team made the playoffs quite a few years. But they're not, they're not as good as the Packers, say. They're not as reliably good as the Packers. So give me the quarterback over the coach. But, you know, I say the quarterback, you know, is worth, I don't know, an elite quarterback's worth, what, 4 or 5 wins, 6 wins? Coach is worth 2 or 3. You know, it's by a factor of 50%. Also.
I always, and again, I always choose coaching. And I think you make a great argument. And most likely you're right in this situation. So I might even concede that already. Okay. But the reason I always choose coaching is because I feel like a great coach will take a team and make, like, and the example we used before camera is like if you're a 3-13 team and you come in as a head coach and that team turns around, as we've seen multiple times in the past, and they go 8-8 or even 9-7, maybe just miss the playoffs, maybe just make the playoffs. The question isn't always you have to win championships to be considered successful. And a great example of that I want to say is Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer. I don't think Carson Palmer is he's not on Aaron Rodgers' level. He's not on Tom Brady's level. But Bruce Arians is such a great decision maker. He obviously understands game theory. And the Cardinals for the last 2.5, 3 years, and look what he did with Larry Fitzgerald, it's a different question, but still, the Cardinals over the last 2.5 years have become a team that you have to start believing in, especially when it comes time to the playoffs. Granted, they haven't made it to the Super Bowl since the Steelers-Cardinals Super Bowl a few years back. So I get it. Without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick isn't Bill Belichick. Granted, if you look back on Bill Belichick's history, if I'm correct, he had Lawrence Taylor as well when he was defensive coordinator.
That helps.
Who's an all-right linebacker in the history of
he wasn't the only guy they had either.
Right. That was actually one of the greatest defense of all time. But it's a good point. Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, when you see those two together, yeah, of course, Aaron Rodgers seems to be worth more wins than Mike McCarthy. If you put Mike McCarthy on, let's say, the New York Jets and you gave him Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think he's
I don't think he's even an upgrade over Todd Bowles.
Right. No, he's not. I think Todd Bowles is a fantastic coach overall.
Well, I will just say one thing about Arizona. I think people are getting way ahead of the Bruce Arians era. I mean, they made some stupid decisions Monday night. I mean, not only did they throw
one game instance.
Okay,
I'm high on the Cardinals this year.
They blitzed for no reason, and then the Ravens were dead, and they blitzed, and they got a one-on-one, and they got a 40-yard play, and then they almost won the game or tied the game. So I'm not that on Bruce Arians. I think he's okay. We'll see. I think the jury's out.
What I like about Bruce Arians the most as a coach is that he has the almost the Bill Belichick, like, we don't care if we're winning by a lot of points. We're going to put, as he quote, like him, I'm quoting him, at halftime during certain games, he has said, put your foot on their throat.
Right.
Like, he wants to win by a solid margin every time he goes out there. And that's a great, and talk about qualities of a coach, that's a quality of a coach you want. Granted,
you want coaches that don't care about politeness, don't care about being liked by other people, the media, other coaches.
Fine line.
You don't want that should not be a factor. And Belichick obviously does not care.
He doesn't care.
And if Arians doesn't care, I put that in the plus column.
Right, and but there's the fine line between him and Jim Harbaugh, who's wearing blood and body paint and face paint during the games.
Well, he's probably an insane person, but that's fine too. I mean, I'd rather that than some milquetoast guy who's trying to stay in the coaching circuit once he gets fired.
Chris, we know your favorite coach is Ken Whisenhunt.
There's a lot of bad ones, and he's among the worst.
He's on your list.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think in the comment section below? Is it more important to have a franchise quarterback or a great NFL head coach? What determines more success for a team or franchise in the NFL? Make sure to subscribe to TYT Sports, and make sure, as always, head over to rotowire.com. Chris, his articles there, observations for the NFL, East Coast Offense podcast. You can find it all on his Twitter at Chris_Liss, at JasonRuma91, and at TYT Sports.